to face a lot of trials and tribulations that I couldn't get out from under. And once I finally got the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to walk in this gift, God blessed me abundantly. At 24 years old, I have achieved so many things that people only wish that they were able to achieve. And I owe that all to my Heavenly Father. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. He truly has given me the gift and the courage to walk in my truth. He's given me the gift and the courage to always remember where my help comes from.
Come on.
He's given me the gift and the courage to tell other people where my help comes from. Because it's one thing to know where it comes from, and it's another thing to be able to express where it comes from to anybody.
Amen.
And so I think that's how I got here today.
Okay.
Amen. You were talking about your dreams when you were little. Obviously, I was there. And what she didn't mention was that this was a 7-day journey. So Mania, when she was little, it was always I could wake her up really easily for her to go to school. Well, when this started to happen, the first night she said, she's like, Mom, I went to heaven. And I had a hard time waking her up. Like, it was, really hard for her to get up. And then she would be talking to me, but her eyes would still be closed. And then I would write down everything that she said she saw in heaven, but that it happened for 7 days, and then it never happened again that I'm aware of. So what I'm asking you, have you had any more prophetic dreams or anything like that?
Not in the sense of dreams like actually sleeping, of actually going to heaven, I would say. But like I tell my parents all the time, anytime I come up with these grand schemes, I come up with like a lot of get rich quick schemes and things like that in my head. But anytime I come up with these really like master plans, it always comes to me when I'm sleeping. Like, I always just wake up and I'm just like, this is what I could do. Or I'm daydreaming like, this is what I can do. So when I started the Startup BC, it came to me honestly, and I'll tell you how it happened. My uncle was sick, and when he was in the rehabilitation center, he kept telling me, like, Nisi, he always says Nisi. He said, Nisi, don't work so much for the people that if you were to, not be able to work anymore, they would replace you in a heartbeat. And he would continuously tell me that. And I kind of like, was paying attention, but I really wasn't. But when he passed, it really sunk in for me. Like, it really hit home that, like, I can't work for someone all the time. Like, I can't do it. And so I had a dream. And God told me in my dream, clear as day, what I needed to do. And that January, I quit my job. I had to call my mom first to make sure it was okay. But I quit my job. And like I told my mom, I was blessed when I quit my job. I was blessed. Like, I put my 2 weeks notice in, and they said, you don't even have to come back. We're still going to pay you for these 2 weeks. You don't have to come back. And I'm sitting here like, oh, okay. It just made it easier for me. And the process of getting there, it wasn't easy by all means, but when I did it, I can tell that I truly listened to what he said. I heard God's voice in that dream to say, this is what I need you to do. And when I did it, it wasn't like, it wasn't like a feeling of like nervousness. I was nervous because you're nervous anytime you do something new, but it was like a feeling of reassurance throughout the entire process. Every step of the way, God's hand is clearly in it. So I haven't had any dreams of like actually going back to heaven, but I have dreams of what he wants me to do clearly.
Wow.
And then when I take those steps and those initiatives, I see his hand in it, and I feel his reassurance while I'm doing it. And he hasn't failed me yet. So.
Amen. What is the Startup BC?
So the Startup BC is business coaching and development. It is for small businesses. One thing that I've always noticed is that small businesses fail because they fail to plan, and they fail to have resources that can actually help them sustain their business. And so the Startup BC is something for small businesses to be able to get there. It's a one-stop shop, basically. You're able to get your LLCs, your incorporation, your 501c3 paperwork with the state of New Jersey. Once you do that, it's kind of like, for most people, it's like, all right, where do I go next? Well, where do you go next is you come back to the Startup BC. We help you get your website done, help you create your business plan, your headshots, your commercials. It's a one-stop shop for small businesses to be able to go out on their own and succeed in their entrepreneurship journey.
Amen.
Wow, amen. That is awesome. You may be getting a visit from CEO Integrity.
I'm waiting.
Amen. Amen. We gotta support it.
Was that a commercial?
Oh, you like that shameless plug-in? Oh man, no, it's not a plug-in. But since you asked, CEO Integrity, no. But
you were talking about your youth and talking about how you were kind of running from God. Now, there's a lot of teenagers who know that they have been set apart, that there's something about them that's not like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to speak more on that. And I want you to speak to the youth who know that they're not like everyone else, but they're trying to be like everyone else. What is it that someone could have told you that would have made a difference?
When I explain this to people, and I don't explain my journey to a lot of people, but I always explain it. You ever see the movie Dr. Dolittle? Mm-hmm. The one with Raven realized that she could talk to animals, but she was just trying to run away from it. She didn't want nobody to know. And the only way for her to really get that understanding, was it Raven or was it her sister? It was both of them. It was the only way she was able to get that understanding is when she expressed it and she was open. She felt it with open arms, and she realized that she was not weird. And I think that's the key for people in our generation, is that when you're different, you're considered weird. But it's embracing that weirdness. I want to put that in quotation. That weirdness is not truly weird. And I think what would have set me apart when I was younger would have been if someone my age that actually embraced their weirdness or their differentness was able to speak out on it. Because then I would understand, like, okay, it's not just me.
Right.
And because it's not just me, I need to be able to let the next person know. And so that's why I'm always pushing that you have to raise the next generation up. You have to be that voice of reason for them. And that's why I tell people, if you have your testimony, you need to tell your testimony, because God didn't give you the testimony to keep it to yourself. He put you through those trials and tribulations so that you can help the next person. And I think that's what people they fall off at. They go through their trials and tribulations behind closed door, and they only want to show the end. There was a lot that you went through to get there. It wasn't an easy path. People need to see that path is not easy. And so even for me now, I tell people I'm starting to speak out about it a little bit more, and I think it's because I have the confidence to understand exactly what this gift means, because for a long time I wasn't educated enough to know what it actually was. So when someone would ask me, or if I would try to explain it, I couldn't really explain it. So then I'm sitting there in the back looking kind of crazy, like, all right, yeah, oh, you went to heaven, oh, okay. They didn't really understand what I was talking about. But I think that our youth just need to see people speak about it a little bit more and be authentic when they're speaking about it. Everything không need to be for $1. I don't want to buy your book about your journey. And that's just being honest. I don't want to buy your book. Why can't you just, do a YouTube channel and tell me about your journey? Why can't you do a Facebook Live and tell me about your journey?
Absolutely.
Why do you have to profit off of it?
Absolutely.
I don't think that God decided that you needed to profit off of you going to heaven. He may have. But I don't see why he would stop you there, because there are plenty of people that would not be able to buy your book.
Right.
Amen. You started off by, only way I could say it is throwing a pretty big boulder out there and saying that you went to heaven. Now, I know a lot of people are listening, and a lot of people saying, yeah, right. Okay. Like you said, you've experienced people that say, yeah, right. How did you know that you were in heaven as opposed to, just a nice place? How did you know you were in heaven?
So, I had an imagination as a child, right? I think all children do. The reason why I knew I was in heaven is because the way it would happen. I would go back and I would tell my mom, and mind you, at this time I was young, and I can't really tell you exactly how old I was. My parents would probably be able to tell you better, but I was at an age where I didn't know the Bible from front to back. I didn't know much that was in it other than what I was learning in Bible study.
Right.
So when I would tell them and explain heaven to them, my mom and my parents would be like, that is exactly how it's explained in the Bible. And when I would explain my journey to them, they would say, that's exactly in it. And they started believing me, because I think at the beginning they was probably looking at me like, you got a real good imagination. But then I experienced something on that last day. God told me I was not going to be able to go to heaven again. And child, I was devastated because I liked it there. Okay, I'm trying to tell you, you want to get your life together because it's beautiful. But he told me I wasn't going to be able to go to heaven again, and he said that someone was going to pass, and that's how I knew I wasn't going to be able to go. Well, I woke up and I told my parents that somebody was going to pass, and I wasn't going to be able to go to heaven. Well, my mom got a phone call in the middle of the night that her cousin died, and it reassured. I was already in the understanding that I was in heaven. You couldn't tell me anything, but I feel like for other people that reassured, and for me as an adult, it reassured that that's exactly where I was, and that was right then. God, when I say He, God told me that my journey was now beginning. So people always say I'm wise beyond my years. I'm 24 and I've experienced so much. It's because of that journey that I went through. And it was a journey because it's not something, when you have 4 other siblings and you're the only one that experienced something, you can kind of see how everybody's looking at you like you're kind of weird or you're crazy. But it was that moment that put me in that mindset of you're different. And you need to embrace that. Now, I didn't embrace it. I ran away from it. And I mean, when I tell you I was running away from it and ended up in some stuff, I wasn't a horrible child, but I was doing things that I know I didn't have no business doing. And I think that's what probably made my parents so angry, is because I knew better. And not only did I know better, I knew that I didn't have to do it. I was just doing it because I didn't want to do the right path. Just truly, I didn't want to do the right path. And so I think that once that moment happened for me, it kind of set the nail in the coffin that, like, yeah, you were there, you experienced this, and now it's your way of doing things. You have to move forward now.
There's something else about you that you haven't really spoken on, and Manai has always been extremely active while she was in school,
right?
And especially when she got to high school, and she was she implemented a lot of different things that I believe still take place today. She was in a student council, and she just did a lot of things. And then when she got out, before she started to start up BC, she did something called the Alumni Gift. And she can tell you about the Alumni Gift, and she can tell you why she started it, and give you some information and it'll give you another clue as to who she is as a person.
Yes, I know exactly where my mother's going. So I was very active in high school. I implemented a plethora of things in Willem Bar High School, and shout out to the class of 2012 if you're listening. But college just was not for me. It just wasn't something that I was interested in. I think I was more interested in the experience than actually going to college. I didn't feel like it was a necessity. And so when I graduated from high school, I was accepted to colleges. I just didn't want to go. And I went to the community college, and I stopped going. And for a long period of time, when people would ask me oh, what school did you go to? What college are you going to? What are you majoring in? I would feel kind of like beneath them when I tell them, like, yeah, I didn't go to college. It kind of made me feel like, I wouldn't say depressed, but it made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And I wasn't living up to people's standards and what they thought for me being so successful in high school. And so I started the Alumni Gift, and that was basically for those students that decided that college was not an option.
Okay.
My uncle always told me, you don't have to go to college. It's not necessary, but it's not an excuse for not being educated.
Hold on now.
So I'm a firm believer in self-education. Just because you don't go to college doesn't mean that you don't need to be studying. It doesn't mean that you don't need to be reading.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that you don't need to be educating yourself, because education is the key to anything that you want to do.
Now, Manai, I want you to hold that one part. We have a phone call coming in.
Ooh, be fancy.
Hello.
I think
Hello, caller. Welcome to the ER.
I was trying to reach Ruben. I'm sorry. I think I dialed the wrong number.
Hey, that's no problem.
But if you could tell Ruben, the producer, to call Marlene.
Well, Marlene, we're gonna do just that. All right.
So sorry, but I appreciate it. I was on just before you. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
No
All right.
problem.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Education is important.
Yes.
And self-education. Make sure you okay.
Yes, so that was the reason to start the alumni gift. It was a way for me and others to give back to the high school and give back that education that I received, that self-education that I received. I was one of the youngest loan officers on the sale floor, and that was a major accomplishment for myself because it proved to me that, oh yeah, you can do whatever you put your mind to. You don't have to be college educated. I was the only one without a college degree. So it just goes to show, the alumni gift was a way to go to show you that education is the key to success, not college. Whatever route you get to getting education is what you need to do. It doesn't have to be college.
Wow.
And so I don't discourage anyone from going to college. It's just that college is a huge financial undertaking. And I feel like to throw children that are 17, 18 years old that truly don't know what they want to do in life into such a huge financial burden, I just feel like it's not fiscally responsible as for adults to do that. And so I always tell them, if you want to be a doctor and you know you want to be a doctor, go to college. If you want to be a lawyer and you know you want to be a lawyer, go to college. If you know you want to be something, then go to college. If you're hesitant, you don't have to do it. Don't let anyone force you into $60,000 in debt.
That's right.
Because you're not going to get a $60,000 job. And that's what is important. And now at this stage in my life, now that I know for sure what I want to do, now I can say, all right, I'm ready to go to college because I know what I want to do. I'm certain that this is what God called me to do.
That's awesome.
And for children, it's important to know what God called you to do. If you know what he called you to do, then you know what you're going to college for. If he says to you, I want you to do this, then you do that. You may not need a college degree for that. So why make your life harder, $60,000 in debt, when God is asking you to be a pastor? Why are you going $60,000 in debt for a business degree? Why are you not going to school for religion? Why are you not going to school to get the backing on that if God called you to be a pastor?
Come on, help somebody.
Why are you going to school why are you going to a trade school to become a plumber when he's asking you to be a lawyer and free your people? You know, that's the type of things that I just want kids to understand. There are a plethora of things that you can do and make money, but the end goal is not always money. And my dad tells me that all the time. I'm always trying to chase a check. It's what the kids say. I'm trying to chase a check. But my dad always tells me, you don't have to chase a check to be happy. And now I'm starting to understand that. It's like, I don't have to work 60 hours a week just to make sure that, you know, I'm able to keep up with the Joneses. I'm good with the minimum and being happy and experiencing time with my family.
Wow, that program, I just want to share this. Again, you're on the ER. That's we're helping somebody. I love that program, and that program need to be shared throughout the state, throughout the nation. You know, that's really needed, because I ran into people who I work with that just coming out of college, a husband and wife team, and they are like $150,000, $160,000 in debt, and the job is only paying $10 an hour. That's what they could get, $10 an hour. So, you know, and they were a young couple, and being educated on this would help somebody. Wow, that is awesome. But I have a question. You know, I remember you was working. You know, you had a good job, great job. How did you step out?
So, again, I was 24. I was a loan officer, so I was making close to $100,000 a year. I was making really good money. And then I transitioned into being a loan processor, which was making close to $50,000, $60,000 a year. And that's just the base, including the potential for bonus. When I stepped out, it literally only was because I think God pushed me out. You know, they say God will put you in a situation so uncomfortable where you have no way to go but to leave. That was that situation, because I knew what I had to do once my uncle got sick. I knew it, and that was in October. So I left in January. That's months after I already knew what I had to do. And that's because he made that situation so uncomfortable. I mean, I was sick. I was physically sick being in that job. And it's not anything against the job, because that's for somebody. It just wasn't for me.
Okay.
And I ended up getting into it. I felt myself going on the verge of depression. I wasn't properly able to mourn my uncle's death, and I was extremely close with him. And that was a situation that took me out. And then me and the manager started having little issues, and that kind of, it just got to a point where I would have just walked out if I didn't call my mom. I literally went into the staircase and I told my mom what was going on, and she said, just leave. I said, yes. My mom said yes. God says yes.
Did it say
It's
yes?
a yes. It's a go. I went ahead. I sent that 2-week notice, and we went on. The New Year's was that Monday, so I called out the day after New Year's. She sent me an email, so I didn't have to come back. I was still gonna be paid for that 2 weeks, and that was it.
Well, that's a win-win.
And it was a win-win, and I
Yes.
hit the ground running. I was working in the office. I met so many great people, so many great small businesses. I mean, people have so many dreams and aspirations. I wish people were able to see what people have going on and what they have in their head. Because I always say,
Wow.
don't die with your dream.
So what you're saying is there are some people out there that are staying in positions when God is moving them, and they're sick, and they're staying sick, talking about, I hope God moved me out, but they're not moving, but you're still sick.
But you're still sick.
So you have to step out.
You have to step out on faith. You have to. The faith the size of a mustard seed. And I think that's what people have to remember. God is not going to tell you to leave so that he can leave you.
Oh.
He's not going to tell you to leave. If God is leading you out, then it's for a reason.
I'm sorry. When I hear sermon titles, I got to write it down, Repeat that. Hold on, this is real country. Repeat that one more again.
God is not telling you to leave so he can leave you.
Come on now.
Amen.
He's not going to do that. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. I don't want anyone to think that I'm telling you that once you leave, you're going to be a millionaire. It's not going to happen that way. You might go through some struggles, but all of those struggles teach you something.
Come on.
And I think that right now, my own personal struggle, I'm struggling right now. I'm opening up a new office. I have my regular bills. I got this car, you know what I mean? And I'm going through my own struggle. But one thing that I'm learning from this struggle is being humble.
Come on.
And in my struggle, I was just telling my family, I ride Uber and Lyft part-time, just to help with some bills. And I had a lady in the car. She got in the car, and she was in great spirits. I mean, the lady was, in great spirits. We got to talking, and I'm all stressed about my, because of my office and things that's going on with that. And she tells me she has cancer. And I'm sitting here like, you have cancer right now? She said, yeah, got diagnosed with breast cancer a second time. And she told me her story, and I'm sitting here like, she's praising God that she only has to get radiation 3 times a week every month instead of doing 3 times a month. I'm sitting here complaining because I can't open my office. She's praising God through everything, and how ignorant of me to be complaining because I can't open my office on time. Because I can't get what I want for an office that I technically don't even need. To be completely frank, I can do my business from anywhere. And so that was that moment that I decided to sit back and say, God, I hear you.
Come on now.
You're humbling me for a reason.
Praise.
And I needed to be humble. So I accept these trials and tribulations so that I can teach somebody else, because he's been putting people in my car for these Ubers and Lyft for a reason, and that's God for sure.
Amen.
No one could ever tell me different. India.Arie has a song that how I know God is real, and these moments are the reason how I know that God is real.
Come on.
It's amazing the way he moves. He moves in like the craziest ways to most people, and you're sitting there like, wow. He doesn't come to you in just a dream or when you're praying or a scripture. He'll come to you in any way, shape, or form through anyone. And I think that's what's important, is to know that if he's leading you out of something, it is for a reason, and you just have to listen and obey and stay steadfast and patient and humble through that process.
Amen. Like you said, if he's leading you out, he's going to lead you in.
That's right.
Come on. Oh, man.
But I can remember, I'm not sure if I read it on Facebook or if you sent me a text message, when you decided to quit your job. And I remember saying to my husband, like, Trey, she's quitting her job.
Right.
Oh my goodness. I said, I know she's making good money. I said, but she's stepping out on faith.
Yes, she
That
did.
is so awesome.
That is so awesome.
That is
was
so
her word.
awesome. I
That was
said,
her
more
words.
people need to do that. You know what I mean? And then I looked at him. I said, man, we need to do
We
that.
need to do that. Yes, absolutely. She sure did.
I said, I've always been, I don't know if I should use the word fan or whatever, but I've always been in your corner, you know, because I always thought that you were going to go places and do things, and you're doing just that. So I just want to say, you know, God bless you and continue in your journeys and what you're doing. But that step of faith that you took was awesome, and I'm glad to see that it's still prospering, you know, in your favor, and more young ladies need to step out there and have that confidence that you have in yourself and everything that you do.
Thank
So
you.
you keep on doing what you're doing and being a mentor for the young ladies.
you. That means a lot.
And you talk about that too, that you really are a mentor, that you are an actual mentor, that you
Yes.
have young ladies who that you have shadow you.
Yes. So I am a mentor under Hotep Worldwide Incorporated. I had a nonprofit called the Alumni Gift, as my mom was telling you guys. And I actually sat down with a gentleman who I am a huge fan of. I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. He is one of my favorite people because he's been through some things, okay? His name is Jay Sykes. He goes by the performance name of Zoo Life. And I'm a huge fan of him. And I sat down with him one time, and he had the nonprofit Hotep Inc. And we were talking about, you know, what his nonprofit did and what my nonprofit did. And I realized that it was very similar. And he was only one town over. So I said, well, there's no point of us working apart. Let's work together. If we work together, I take my resources, we take your resources, we can create a powerhouse. Because it's not about competition.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
Here we
It's not
go.
about, oh, I'm the founder of the Alumni Gift. Oh, I'm the founder. It's not about that. Because it's about the work that we're actually set out to do.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
when we came together, we created a powerhouse of Hotep Worldwide Incorporated. I am a mentor. I mentor a numerous of different women and girls. So I want to put this out here because someone told this to me, and I'm finally starting to step into it. Your mentor does not have to be older than you. I know that sounds crazy. Like, oh, what can a young person teach you? They can teach you a lot. A lot. Because people younger than me teach me a lot. And so I mentor older women on how to really walk in their gifts with their businesses and their motherhood, even though I'm not a mother, and in everything. And I teach younger girls how to do what I'm doing, because the goal is for me to teach you how to be better than me. I know no one ever wants to do that. They don't want you to be better than them. They don't want you to surpass them. No. If you don't surpass me, then I did not teach you right.
That's right.
I didn't teach you anything because you're not doing anything that I cannot do. The goal is for you to be 10 times better than me, and then make sure that the person behind you is 10 times better than you.
That's right.
Because if we're better than each other, then we're always elevating. No one's ever stagnant. So I am a mentor. You can always call me. You can email me. You can text me. Anything you need, hit me up. Or hit me up on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. Like my pictures. Whichever one you want to do.
She loves social media.
I love social media.
Wow, that was awesome. And I remember reading or listening to Dr. Miles Monroe one time make that statement that, listen, we need to train up the next generation and be able to step aside while we still have health to enjoy to see them move forward. And if we continue to hold on to the ball until we drop the ball and we don't train them, who's going to pick up the ball? You know, so what you're doing is awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Also, one of the things that I really, she's my child, so of course I love her and I'm proud of her and all those things. But another thing is that she surrounds herself with people who are about something. None of her friends are just sitting around doing nothing. They all have their own businesses. They are all, motivational and always putting programs in place, having events. You want to talk about, surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded.
Come on.
So I tell you, and I think my friends always say I don't brag about myself enough. My mom says that too. I don't know. I'm very humble. If you get to know me, I'm extremely humble. Last October, I won an NAACP award for my works in the community.
Yes.
Which was a huge accomplishment for me because I was not thinking that people were really looking at what I was doing. I thought that I was just doing things for the fun of it because that's how I do things, for the fun of it. So when I won it, I was extremely inspired. And I mean, I say that story to say my friends, those people that I surrounded myself with, they're all business owners. We have Skin on Man, which is Sierra Clark, Makeup by Mika, which is my best friend since 3rd grade. That's Mika Bonnie. You have Slay by KC Cosmetics, which is Kelsey Chambers. I'm like literally I can go on forever. Queen Her Magazine, Caroline Sion Rogers, Queen Speak, Mariah, and those are all of my best friends, the people that I'm with every single last day. They're all business owners. We all have businesses. And because one thing that is important is resurrecting Black Wall Street. That's important. It's important for us to have our own, especially as women. So when I won that, they started calling me the leaders of the leaders. And I would tell them, I said, I'm not the leader of any leaders. I'm the leader of what I have going on. And you're the leader of what you have going on. We're all leaders of the leaders because God has given us that gift.
That's right.
And we have to continue to walk in that gift. So when I won that wasn't for me. That was for us. That was for us to say, we did this. I didn't do this. We did this. And we're going to continue to do this because I couldn't be who I am without you guys, and you can't be who you are without us. And that's the power of sisterhood. And that's the power of togetherness. And a lot of times, as women, people think that you have to kind of compete with each other because it can't be 2 people at the top. It can be as many people at the top as you want it to be.
That's right.
That's a fact. It doesn't matter how many people's at the top because success is measured for everyone differently. And like I always tell people, success is measured by your experiences. A person that was in poverty, their level of success is having their own home. That could be just it. I just want to have my own house. I don't care how big, how small it is. I want to have my own house. Someone that was already born rich may say, my level of success is I want to own my own yacht. It's measured by your experiences and whatever you want it to be. So your version of success can be completely different from my version of success. I think that the importance is remembering that God is the success, though. Being able to please him is what's successful. And so having all of my friends that are God-fearing women and people that know where their help comes from encourages me to continue to be as great as I can.
Wow. Wow, that's important and that's powerful. And all your friends like-minded.
Yes.
You know, and here's the thing. If a mind, listen, you may not have the same type of mind frame that I have, but I'm willing to teach you. You know, and I can teach you by being an example, and that's what you do, and that's what I really love about it.
Yes.
You know?
Thank you.
Amen. You know, what you were saying about stepping out on faith, that's really important to get across to a lot of people.
Come on.
Because I've been telling a couple of people lately about me and how my mindset growing up. And like I would tell people, and this is no fault of anybody, but I never knew that I can have a vocation that I enjoy. I always thought life was about just going out there and getting the highest paid job that I can do. And more than likely I was going to hate it. Okay. I never knew, coming out of high school, I never knew that, first of all, I didn't have to go to school, number one. Number two, if I did, that I could study something that I enjoyed. I came out of high school and I went to a trade school, a tech school, to learn how to repair computers. And when I graduated from there, I went on to a 4-year school to learn how to program computers. I couldn't stand computers. Okay. I have a degree in computer repair, and if you're looking for somebody to repair your computer and you bring your computer to me, you'll still be looking for somebody to repair your computer. Okay, I didn't like it, but I was told that computers was the highest paying job at the time, so I took it. If you gave me $5 million and you said that it's free and clear, I don't gotta give it back, but I just have to use it for the business that is my dream business, and you left and came back in a year, I'd still have $5 million in the bank because I never understood what my dream business could be. So there's a lot of us that are in the work world that God has enabled us to do great things in life, but I just never thought that I could enjoy it. I never thought that I thought, ministry. I never knew that you can work in ministry. I never knew you can be a full-time minister. That never occurred to me. I just thought that that's something you did on the side when you got a chance. So what you're doing and encouraging people in that's really great. That's really needed.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people out there that don't understand that. And that's the one thing I give you young people. Y'all are not afraid to step out there and look stupid if you want to. You know what I mean? But if it's your dream, you're going to go out there and do it. You know what I mean? Like you just sat here and said, I was making $100,000 doing this and $50,000. And I'm thinking, like, wait a minute, I raised you. What happened to my payback from that $100,000 and all that? That's what I'm sitting there thinking. But and then you tell me, well, I quit, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I didn't know about the 100, and I didn't know, and you quit. I'd have been, like, Mama wait a minute now, Yeah, but I'm glad that you did that because you are. I can tell that who you are now is much better and much different than who you were when you were working, making all that money. Mm-hmm. You were very upset all the time. You were sick all the time. And now, where you don't have as much money, you seem to be a lot happier. Mm-hmm. You bring a sense of hope into a room when you come in. It's like, wow. Every time you come over, I believe you're going to tell me something great and exciting and new. So it's like I look forward to it. Mm-hmm. So I'm thankful for you doing what you're doing and being an encouragement to these young ladies, and I have to give a little shout out to Zoo Life. That's my boy right there, Jay Sykes. Me and him, we sat down and we had a great talk, But there also is another special young man in your life that I think you need to make mention of.
I wasn't going to end this without talking about my best friend in the entire world.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, when I tell you that God made him for me, he made him for me. Levante Trappier. Okay, I'm going to be Mrs. Trappier, October 2019. So
wait a minute, does Levante know that?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Look, so I see me winking. But my best friend, I think that through this entire journey of me quitting my job, I know that he was looking at me like I was crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? And instead of saying, no, you need to get a job, you need to do this, he encouraged me. He encourages me to do more than what I think that I'm able to do. And I honestly think that I can do a lot. But he tells me that I can be the president of the United States if I wanted to. That's how he encourages me that much. Like,
that's right.
I applied for a job because I was like, I think I'm just going to go and just go back to work for a little bit just to kind of get my funds back right. And I applied for a job, and it was a general manager position. And it was making $65,000 a year. Mm-mm. And he was like, I mean, yeah, like you can do it, but are you going to be able to do your business? Mm-hmm. Because your business is going to succeed. Like, are you going to be able to do what you want to do? Because you can really do this. And now, Lamonte is 6'3", 280 pounds. So he's my personal security guard. I don't need any security. He is my personal security guard. And he literally takes, he's like that force, because if anyone knows me, I'm extremely too nice. Way too nice. I Ubered somebody somewhere for free because I felt bad. Like, that's how nice I am.
Sure, Uber was glad to hear that.
I was like, oh, you know what? Let's just turn this off and I'll just take you for free because I felt bad. But he literally is like, listen, who's messing with you? Why can't you get this done? Why are you not doing this? Who do I got to talk to? No, I'm going up there now because now I'm mad. I'm going up there. They not going to get over you. But he's just that type of person because he believes in me so much. Like, if he didn't believe in me, he'll sit back and not say anything. But he's encouraging me. He pushes me to do better than anything that I ever could have done. Like, my senior year, he graduated already, and he was like, I want you to get the honor roll. And I'm like, I don't know, because I got this class. He said, yes, you can. And I got honor roll. I said, oh, you really, like, believe in me. Like, you really think I can do this? You know what I mean? Like, he's, from the beginning of our relationship, he's always had my back. Like, when I was running for class president, he was with me every step of the way, putting pictures up. He bullied a few people into voting for me. I'm not going to lie. But
he persuaded.
Yeah,
he persuaded
yes. them to vote for me. So if you ever seen that big red truck, that was him. But
he persuaded people. I almost voted for. I wasn't even in high school.
Yeah, he made sure that people knew who, like, you know, this is my girl. You're going to vote for her. And you're going to make sure that she's successful, okay? So, but I mean, like, I couldn't ask for a better partner to do this with because, honestly, he's my best friend. I think my entire family loves him. My uncle loves him to death. Oh, my goodness. They will see each other at the mall all the time. And Monte would convince him not to buy the Air Force Ones. You need to get this. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But my dad loves him. My family loves him. I mean, that's my ride or die, my ROD.
Wow, just sitting here listening to you, you just brought everything back to me. What we do, and how I feel that God has moved us, and you know our inner circle, and I know that God moved our inner circle in the three P's that we practice today, and that's position, purpose, and promise. You got in position, operating your purpose, and you're already stepping out in faith, knowing that the promises that God had for you is going to continue to open up. I'm so proud of you, and I'm just, I'm grateful, and as your uncle. That's right. That's right. Hi, y'all. And I just love, just everything that you do. And my wife, your aunt there, she is so proud. And I will have to back it up again. She's definitely said, yo, we got to step out like that, and with our business. But I'm proud of you. And just continue to move forward in all the things that you're doing. We're going to take a quick break for our announcements. And Sister Cheryl.
Okay, our announcements for today are from First Baptist Church of Robbinsville. Move closer. Our Bible study will be held Wednesday at 7 p.m. All are invited to attend. Our 100-year church anniversary celebration will be October 13th from 4 p.m. at the Knights of Columbus in Willingboro, New Jersey. Our tickets are on sale for $45 for adults and $25 for children ages 12 and under. If you want tickets, you can see Reverend Warner or call our church, and we will make sure that you get those tickets. We have upcoming events in our ministry, and the men's breakfast is planned for November 10th, 2018. If you want any information on the men's breakfast,
come on out.
Please see Reverend Schaefer. The men's conference is also planned for November 11th. Any information that you need in regards to the men's conference, please see Reverend Schaefer. And the women have Women's Day coming up on November 17th, and you can see myself if you want to be a part of assisting and planning in the women's celebration. And that's all I have for announcements for this week.
Well, great. I want to thank you for your awesome announcements, but I just want to give you a tidbit, right?
Yes.
If the manager comes up, right, and he's moving the mic, that means you want it closer so he can hear you. So if he's moving it this way, you keep moving it back. That's going to be defeating the purpose. Hey Ruben, I got your back, brother. I got you. She was steady moving back. I'm like, yo, you're defeating the purpose.
I feel like I'm about to eat the mic.
Oh man, well listen, before we close, I'm going to personally thank everyone for coming out.
Yes.
And listen, check her out on YouTube, Facebook, Just that will be her last time here. As you already know, she's family. And as she continue to move on to her next adventure and everything that she's just going to continue to grow big. It's just going to happen. God is going to bless you to open up, and you're going to do more. You know why? It's not about your personal success. You want to help others. So God is He's going to open that up, and I am grateful. But I want to thank my sister, Minister Selena Cleveland,
Amen.
for coming on the show, always behind the scene. And you got Sister Minister Barbara Foreman replacing you today, so she's on the mic. Hey, Facebook, that's Barbara Foreman. Hey, how you doing, Sister Barb? But thank you, sis, for coming on. And Sister Schaefer, thank you for coming on. And again, brothers and sisters out there on Facebook and YouTube, it's been a pleasure. But before we end, I always got to end with the closer. My brother Rob.
Well, before we wrap everything up, I just want to ask Manaya, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they reach you?
So if you would like to get in touch with me, you can email me at info@thestartupbc.com. That's info@thestartupbc.com. You can go on my website, which is www.thestartupbc.com. If you want to reach out to me in regards to any partnership with Hotep Worldwide Incorporated, you can email me at m.cleveland@hotepworldwideinc.org. If you want to follow me on Facebook, my name is spelled M as in Mary, O, N as in Nancy, A-Y-A, last name Cleveland. I had to break it down like that so you didn't put an I in my name. And yeah.
Amen. Amen.
I just have one more question. What was it like being a PK kid?
The devil tries you more as a PK kid, but I think the difference between other PK kids and the way I was raised as a PK kid was my parents were super, super down to earth. So it was never like a situation where they were like really like, I don't know how to explain it without offending anyone. They were never like super churchy is what I would say.
No offense.
Like they weren't like those super, super churchy type of people where we couldn't listen to regular music or watch regular shows or nothing like that. They were super down to earth. My dad was he was a DJ. I mean, I didn't have to buy any CDs. I say, Dad, I want to mix between Usher and Chris Brown. And he'll go in his DJ room with the headphones and get it going. My mom, she used to read to us all the time. They were just really down to earth people. So we never experienced any difference growing up, like I would say. But I would say the devil definitely tries you 10 times harder because he knows that you're protected and covered, and he's waiting for you to slip up. So I think that's the difference between a PK kid and then just growing up as because you're tried 10 times harder. But because of the way my parents are, you can look at my siblings. None of us are we're the best kids you'll ever meet. If I'm just gonna be completely honest, we're the Cleveland household. I mean, they used to call us baby kids, but I think we're the best kids that you'll ever meet. I think we're the best.
Used to call you. Woo. I mean, y'all used to run all over the place. Now that's another time, another show.
The best.
Woo, they would hop off the roof.
We would and still be kicking it.
Rev, I think we got. Go ahead and wrap it up. We got 1 to 2 minutes.
1 to 2. Okay. Well, the Bible teaches that what God calls common, we don't call uncommon.
Come on.
The Bible teaches us that God works in the impossible. And the Bible also teaches us that God will show us things that only we can see and understand and believe through faith. Well, all of those things is what Manaya talked about. She talked about having a vision and having not a vision, but God actually taking her to heaven. Well, that's something that is really incredible. That's something that most people may not believe. Some people will question it and, all of these different things. But she knows that it actually happened in her life. That's how God operates. Yeah. God will give you something and set it before you and say, now, what do you think about it? And you look around and you say, well, nobody else is going to believe this. And God said, it wasn't for everybody else. What do you think about it? Do you have the faith in me to know that was the truth? And once you say yes, that opens up the door for us to have a great relationship with God.
Amen.
And that's what he has done through her life. And he has done things that are not typical, things that are uncommon in her life, you know, not going to college, not doing all these different things, and still having the inspiration in the community and in the work world to be advanced to places that people with college degrees could never even reach. You know, she's very influential with her friends, you know, just around other women and young girls, like she said. She just is, to me, the epitome of what happens when you believe in God to walk on water. If you can believe that and you actually willing to put it into practice, you'll see the success.
Amen.
And having the faith in God. And the Bible teaches that we cannot please God without faith.
Come on.
You know, so she just, to me, she didn't really say the word too many times, but she preached on faith.
Amen.
And having faith that God is the truth, he's the way, he's the life, he's real. And that's pretty much all I can say. I'm proud of her. You know, I'm happy to be her father. I use her name for credit in the in our town that we live in. You know, I get good stuff and free stuff because I say I'm Aniah's dad, and I'm not ashamed of that. I was hoping that there was a particular restaurant open today so we can get some more stuff. You know, I hope I didn't shoot myself in the foot on saying that, but I you know, hey, I am who I am.
Amen.
But I'm thankful that God has allowed her to be my daughter and me to be her father.
Amen. You just tuned into the right channel at Primer Christian Talk Radio. See you next fourth Sunday at 4 p.m. I'm your host, Pastor Ed Schaefer, First Baptist Church of Robbinsville. Hi, Olivia. Hi, Chanel. God bless. Thank you, Brother Ruben.
Amen.
And next up is Sold Out with Pastor John.
Yay.
That's right.